my name is Melanie and welcome to Written with a Y. This is my first official review and I'm so excited. As I said in my first video, I took a lot of time to decide to actually do this. I just didn't know if I should have done it. I was just like scared and but finally I decided that yes, I really wanted to do this. So I am extremely excited today to officially start with my first review. The book that I'm going to be reviewing today is a fantasy that I just recently read, and I'm currently on book 3 out of 4. And it's called An Ember in the Ashes by Sabata here. The whole series has the name An Ember in the Ashes, though the other books have other names, but the series is called An Ember in the Ashes. The first one, this one was written in 2015 or published in 2015, and the last one was published in 2020. So I just got my hands into this book. I was randomly looking for fantasy books to read and I ended up finding this one. I bought it. I didn't do a lot of research on it and I just started reading it. So today we're gonna be reviewing it. The way that I'm gonna review this is that I'm gonna have a first part where I'm not gonna give spoilers, at least not major spoilers, just things that are necessary to tell you what the story is about. And then a second part where I am going to give spoilers and where I'm going to go a little bit more deeper into it. So if you have read it already, please stay for the whole video because that's the point, for me to discuss these things that I saw reading more close reading. And yeah, I want to know what you think about it in the comments. If you have not read the book and you're interested in reading it after my shorter non-spoiler review, then don't stay unless you don't care about spoilers, but I hate spoilers, so please don't stay if you care about spoilers. Let's start. For the first part, that is non-spoiler part, I'm going to first talk about what is the book about, what are good things in general about the book, what are bad things in general, and then I'm gonna give my score, like what is my out of 5, my general take of the book, and if I think you should read it or not, though that's gonna be completely your decision. What is the book about? This book is a fantasy about a world divided in groups, is usually how fantasies go. So it's kind of a dystopian slash fantasy, I would call it. I don't know if I would call it more a dystopian than a fantasy, especially this first book. It's more heavily leaning on the dystopian world, how things are working in that world, more than the magic. Which I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, because maybe Sabata here wanted to lean more in the magic part, but she definitely did not. So if she wanted to, then she didn't accomplish her endeavor. If she didn't want to, then yes, she did what she wanted to do, I guess. As I said, this world, this magic world and dystopian world is divided in groups. So we have the marshals that are like the empire rulers, the ones who have the control of the whole empire. We have the scholars that are the marginalized group, the ones that are poor, that don't have a status in society, and that the marshals can just do whatever they want with them. Usually they tend to be slaves, and others are not slaves but definitely have a bad lifestyle. Then we have the tribesmen that are another group of people. They kind of like live in the outside in the desert. So this book is very Middle Eastern, so it's located in some type of desert area, I don't know. And you have the tribesmen that are men that live in tribes, and they have kind of an agreement with the empire. I'm not sure how that works, but they are like, you don't bother us, we don't bother you, basically. They definitely are not as strong as the empire is. The empire has all the heavy weapons, which is a very key element in the book. Who has the best weapons is the one that can actually rule the world. And the reason why the marshals are the best ones and that can control the scholars, and even though not completely control the tribesmen, definitely have kind of a higher step than the tribesmen, is because they have better weapons. And then we have the freemen that are just a group of people that we don't really see in the book, but they're just mentioned, and they live in the outsides of the outsides. Like, I don't even know where they live. They just live far away and they are free. In the book, we follow 2 points of view. The first point of view is Laia's. She is a scholar, a 17-year-old scholar that lives with her grandparents and with her brother Darren. Her parents were killed when she was younger, when she was like 5 or something like that. Her parents, her mom and her dad, were part of the rebels, the resistance, I think it's called, because obviously we have a resistance group in this novel. We always have. It's how it goes, okay? It's how it goes. And we have the resistance, and her parents were the leaders of the resistance, so they were killed when she was a little girl, and she has always grown up with her grandparents and her brother Darren, and she's not the type of person that wants to rebel. Like, for her, in her mind, being a rebel is just dumb. She just wants to survive, and she's surviving with her family. However, the story starts when some marshals enter in her house in the middle of the night and take her brother because he's supposedly working with the rebels, which is something that she just found out, and she's just like, oh my goodness, how can he do that to us? We were just peacefully living. We didn't need this to happen to us. But her brother, it seems that he was also secretly with the resistance. So the marshals found out, and one night, all of a sudden, they enter in her house and destroy everything that she has ever known and that she has ever loved, and take her brother with them. They take him away to interrogate him, to know more about the resistance, and then to execute him. So now Laia, who cowardly ran away, though I cannot judge her because there's nothing she could do, and her brother told her run away, but she feels that she was a coward and she ran away when her brother needed her the most, now wants to find him and wants to rescue him from the marshals. To rescue her brother, she finds the resistance and asks for their help, but they say that they will only help her if she pretends to be a spy in this super big martial school and give them information about this school. So if she does that for a certain amount of time, they're gonna help her get her brother. Here is that we go to our second point of view. That is our boy, my man. I love him. My heart. This is love him. I'm just a girl, okay? Who falls in love with non-real characters too often. My friends say that that's weird, but I'm just a girl and I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm sorry, that's how things go. So Elias is our second point of view. He is a student in this martial school, and what they create in the school are a military group called the Masks, and they are called the Mask because they have a mask. They have a mask that is like kind of like glued to their faces and their skin, and it's just the more they are advanced in their education, they have this mask all the time in their face that is made out of silver, and it just like becomes part of the face technically, which is very to take it off, they would have to rip off their own skin. That's how glue it is to their skin. But that's not the point. The point is that he's a student in the school of highly trained assassins. The problem is our beloved Elias doesn't want to be a mask. He disagrees with the violence of the Empire, and the only thing he wants is to escape. He just wants to run away. He's about to graduate, and his plan is, once I graduate from here, when everyone is in their feast and just going crazy and drunk, I'm out. And it's during this predicament that Miss Laia enters in the school. So now we have our two main characters, their paths that are very different. One is just a scholar, the other one is the highest part of the Empire, a mask that is about to graduate but doesn't want to be that. And both paths are gonna converge in the school. That is the idea, that is the story. I cannot say more without giving spoilers. Now I will say overall take on the book. First, in general, what do I think works about this book? What do I think is actually good and a reason why maybe you should read it? I think it is a very good idea. It is a very good story. Yes, it can be a little like cliche. We have heard this already. This world that is unfair, so unjust and cruel, and then there's a person that is going to help to overcome the empire. Like we know this trope, but I think it still works. Like there's a reason why it works. It's good. It's good to find just the world at its worst phase, and how the power can corrupt men to come and be evil against other people. And it's cool to see people in this type of world living there and finding themselves wanting to solve the problems. But it's really cool that at the beginning our two main characters don't even want to solve the problems. They're just hanging around. Like they just want to survive. They just want to look for their own good, which is okay, I guess. Like they were thinking like, yes, we're going to destroy like usually this is very weird that if you find a person that is just like, I'm just gonna change the world. Yes, people like that exist, but the normal type of people is like you and me, who are just like, I don't like how this is going, let me just move to another country where things are not this bad. Let me just escape from this problem. They can do whatever they want. I just want my life to be okay and my family to be okay. So it's very relatable, and I think I like the story. I think the story was really interesting, really captivating. My second good thing that I think about it is that it was really fast-paced. I usually like books that are a little bit more like deep and just go slower and narrate deeper feelings and narrate deeper descriptions of the place and of the mental struggles of the characters. That's my type of favorite book. But this was a very fun book to read, because even though it's not the normal type that I like, I did like that it was fast-paced. I enjoyed just going through the pages and sitting down and reading 50, 100 pages in one sitting, because it was just going so fast that I never got bored of what was happening. So I think that was a good thing. My favorite part of this book, I think, and you'll see that the only reason why I kept reading it is the relationship between Elias and another character called Helen. She is not a main character in this book. She's just a side character, but her relationship with him is just perfect. Like, it's so complex, so I loved it so much. I'm gonna talk more about that in the spoiler version of this video, but I just want you to know that there's a very complex relationship happening here that I think was a masterpiece. I don't even know if Sabata here realized what she was doing when she did it, because I'm not gonna talk about that, but she definitely nailed it with this relationship. Nailed it. It was great. Something else good about it, and very connected to the relationship between Elias and Helen, is that when I would put the book down, I just felt that the characters were still alive, and they made me want to come back to the book. But it was mainly that relationship. They just stayed with me. I have a lot of bad things to say about this book, and I was thinking about those bad things when I finished the first book, but it was like 3 days before I got the second book that I ordered. And initially I was like, oh, I don't think I'll buy the second book, because I just didn't believe in sorry, Tahir. I didn't believe that Tahir was gonna be able to pull off a second good book. But the characters just kept me wanting to open more of their story. So I think that's a very good thing to have in a book. Besides that, I think the spy thing is always very interesting, because when you have someone pretending to be someone that they are not so that they can get information, which is what a spy is, that creates a lot of tension and a lot of thriller. I don't know, it just makes you want to see how things are gonna go. It makes you feel the suspense of like, oh my goodness, are they gonna catch her? Is she gonna be a good liar or not? And that was a good move. Now the bad things in general that I didn't like about this little book. Laia. That's it. That's the summarize of what I didn't like about the book is Laia, the main character. This woman here. I did not like her, not a little bit. And it's not like, oh, I didn't like her because she wasn't relatable, or like I didn't like her because she was just like I don't know, like someone that I didn't like because they have a bad personality, which can be the case of a character that has a bad personality, and you're like, oh, I don't like that character, but I believe that they are a real character, and I like how well they are disgustingly described. I don't know if that makes sense. But it was just so badly done. I'm sorry, Sabata here. Like, it was one of the worst main characters I have ever read in a book. She's dumb. She has zero growth. There's no growth in that girl. It's just like, come on, just, she continues being stupid the whole time when she shouldn't be stupid, because it's okay. Stupidness can sometimes be relatable. I am stupid so many times. You might be stupid a lot of times. So that is a relatable thing. I understand. But she was stupid when stupidness was not what should have followed. Like, there were things that happened that it was just like, come on, I can see it. He can see it. This other person can see it. Why in the world are you so dumb and you cannot see it? I was so frustrated, and I just think that Sabata here really wanted her to be like exceptional, because everyone else was like, oh my goodness, when I met her and her yellow eyes, oh my lord. And I'm just like, I don't think she's that cool. I don't think she's cool. I don't know what for everyone. She's just like, wow, she's just such a incredible human. And when I say everyone, I don't mean other readers. I mean people in the book. Like, people in the book were all the time saying, oh, she's amazing. She's just like as no one as we have ever seen. Ah! And I'm just like, she's not that cool. Like, don't only make other characters say that she's cool. Actually make her cool. And I think Sabata here wasn't able to make her cool. I hated Laia all the time. And that's a very bad thing to have. A character, a main number one character that is not likable whatsoever, that doesn't feel real, that feels like a caricature. That's no bueno. No bueno. How many stars I gave this book? So the first time while I was reading the book, I gave the book a 3.5, which is a good grade. I would say that's really good. That's what I gave initially. But after reading the second book and part of the third one that I have not finished yet, I had to put the stars down. And I gave this book a 2.3. There are two reasons why I gave it a 2.3. Number one, Laia. Yeah, I think Laia is just too bad a character. There's nothing there. And the other reason is that the reason why I gave it such a high grade initially was because it has a lot of promises. Like, it promises a lot of things that can be done well. And it just makes you want to keep reading, because you are like, okay, give me more. I think you can do it. Then it is a personal opinion. I don't know if all the promises were fulfilled. Not in this book, but on the books that continue it. So on its own, I guess I will still give it at least a 3. If I'm fair, I don't know. But as it is not on its own, I just couldn't keep it in a 3. I had to put it lower. It's a 2.3. I'm sorry. But it has a lot of good things. So to finish the non-spoiler review, I have to say that this book has a lot of good things. Like, I enjoyed it so much. I couldn't put it down. I would be in class reading the book. Professors didn't know, because don't tell my professors, but some classes we are analyzing books, so I just had my book open, so they didn't know I wasn't reading the book that we were analyzing, because it was really, it just kept me there. I read it, I devoured this book so quickly. It was so easy to read. But yeah, definitely has a lot of big holes that I couldn't recommend it as the best book ever. I could recommend it as a okay book, you know, fun book, a book that will keep you away from your phone, that will entertain you a little bit. And then you have the relationship between Helene and Elias, that it's just so well done. So now for the spoilers review, I'm gonna divide it between the plot, the characters, writing style, relationships, and finally I'm gonna give one take in the written with a Y. Like, what do I feel that was so well done, and that what is the message of the book, and if I think it's good, bad, that thing. The first part is the plot. So for the plot, what actually happens in the story, for those of you who have read the story already, you know this, but what happens is that Elias decides that he's going to stay instead of running away because one of the augurs, I don't know if it's pronounced augurs, so forgive me if I don't know how to pronounce their names, but one of the augurs, the weird celestial or mystical, magical people that lives in a mountain, comes down. His name is Cain, and he comes down and he tells Elias, like, if you run away from this school, if you don't stay, then your destiny is gonna be way more dark than the destiny you think you have here. So Elias is scared of that. He's scared to death to have a bad destiny, and what he decides is that he's gonna stay. What happens is that after graduation, they are told that the augurs are gonna choose a new emperor, and this emperor will be chosen through 4 trials, and there are going to be 4 of the graduated masks that are like the best masks in the whole school, and the 4 of them have to compete to become the emperor. So only 2 of these 4 are going to survive. You're gonna have the one that is gonna win the whole trial thing, and he's gonna be the emperor. There's gonna be one that is gonna be in second place, and this person is gonna be the blood strike, that is the one that goes second to the emperor, that is the boss of assassins, and the other 2 are going to die in the trials. I think it was a great idea to do it this way because it's a competition, and you know, competitions are always cool, but this is a very dark competition because they are fighting for their own lives. The stakes are really high. You either die or you become the emperor. It's not only Elias, he is going to do it alongside Helen, that is his best friend, one of the only people he actually loves in the whole universe. She can die too, like either she becomes the emperor or she can become the block strike, but there's a big 50-50 possibility that one of them is going to die. So it's a very scary thing. The only problem I have with the trials, even though it was a great idea as the majority in this book, is that the execution was bad. Great idea, bad execution. The 4 trials are the trial of courage, cunning, strength, and loyalty. So you have to have the courage to face your darkest fears. You have to have the cunning to defeat your enemies. You need the strength of mind and heart for also defeat your enemies. And then you need the loyalty to break the soul. The first trial, I really liked. I think it was well done. It was good. It was actually, that's the only one that I can say that was well executed, because in that one each of them had to fight their own fears. So it was basically a non-real thing that was happening to them. Like Elias was in this field full of people, dead people, and Elias that is already very troubled by his own fears of becoming a horrible assassin. He has already killed people, and he had to see these dead people again as if it was real life, and he just like almost lost it. He saw the first person he killed when he was just a boy. But it's not only that, he also sees a bunch of people dead that are still alive, but he is going to kill in the future. Like that's what the augur tells him, you are going to kill these people one day. And he just loses it. He cannot believe that he's gonna kill those people. He spends in that field going crazy, like literally losing his mind 5 days. It's just crazy and almost unbearable, and I felt it, so I think it was well executed. With the other trials is that my problems start. So we have this second trial where what they have to do is to defeat like their foes. They had to be cunning, they had to be intelligent. In this one they're going to do in pairs. So you have Helene and Elias, and then you have Marcus and Zach, that were the other 2 that were chosen as aspirants to become the emperor or the block strike. So you have these 2 pairs, and they are attacked first by just like magical beings, then they're attacked by legionnaires that are like from their own people. They're not masks, but they are also from the military of the marshals, and then they're attacked again by other spiritual beings. My 2 issues with this trial, the first one is the meaningless of the killings. They had to kill a bunch of people that worked for the Empire. Like, you have an empire. I'm sorry if I get heated with this because I just thought it was just so stupid. But you have an empire where you need people to fight with you so that you can keep control of the empire. And what are they doing? They are in this little stupid trial just to decide who's gonna become the emperor. They are killing hundreds of their military just for the sake of the trial. Like, people that are not rebels, they are in favor of the empire and they are killing them. So that, for me, that was just so dumb. I was just like, what is going on? What is going on? For example, in the Hunger Games, it made sense. You had the capital and they would protect their people in the capital. Like, the capital was not killing the capital. Do you understand what I mean? They were killing the districts, which is horrible, is sad, but it makes sense because they thought that the districts were less than humans. They thought that they had to be crushing them all the time to keep down rebellion or whatever. But here, they are not only killing the scholars, they are killing each other. And let's make this biblical. Like, a kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. So what is happening here? That was so illogical. I think it was dumb. I was just angry. The second thing I didn't like is that this is basically the first time that we are introduced to the spiritual beings. And it was not well introduced. It just came out of the blue. Like, all of a sudden, this was just a myth almost. Laia doesn't believe in spirits. Elias didn't believe in spirits. And all of a sudden, spirits are here. And now they have to fight against the spirit. I was just like, what is going on? What efforts, genes? Oh my God, what is happening? Who are these people? Why did they just appear? And now they are fighting them. Especially, I didn't understand why these spiritual beings, they are kind of like, what I get about the book, because it's not well explained, or maybe I'm stupid, but I think it's not well explained. But what I get about the book is that these beings are kind of like against humans. Humans are the ones who destroyed them or took them away. Like, I don't know. But they are helping them in their little trial to get their little emperor. Like, what is going on? And you may say, well, the augurs brought them. But why did the augurs care also? Like, why would the augurs just care so much about these little humans and the little empire? I don't know. I think the spiritual world here was so confusing. And that's why I say that I don't think it was a strong book in its fantasy part. You know, it's kind of weird. And also, in the battle, suddenly, Elias, who didn't even believe in these beings, all of a sudden, very conveniently, remembered a song that his mom in the tribesmen told him that said that if you sing, then you can keep an effort away. So he told Helen, hey, sing a song. And they were able to conquer the efforts because he remembered very conveniently this song that he heard when he was probably 40 years old. If you are going to use a very powerful key for some part in the story, you should introduce that key at the beginning of the story so that when you introduce it, I am also amazed. I'm like, oh yeah, this song! Yes! This song! But don't just bring it up like, oh yeah, this is a song that was so important to me and I just remember it now in the moment that I needed it the most. For example, if Elias would have said the poem to himself, like, let's say at the beginning of the book, there's just like a mantra for him. Like, he just remembers that his adoptive mom, when he was in the tribesmen, will sing to him this song, and now he would always sing the song to himself, or like he would have shared that with someone at the beginning of the book, and then in this moment he's just like, oh, this song. Then I, as a reader, I'm a participant of this finding the tool. I'm not just there like, oh, they're just finding magical tools in the moment that is the most convenient moment to find the magical tools. Oh, cool, I guess. The other thing I didn't like was Helen having the singing power. And don't get me wrong, like, I think it was cool that she had a power. I think it was cool that people had superpowers that would be activated in a moment where they interacted with spiritual beings. I think that is actually cool and it's fine. What I didn't like was that it also came kind of like out of the blue. Like, no one had powers before. They didn't even believe that people could have powers. They knew nothing about it. For years, they lived in this world where there were not spirits, where there were not powers, there were not ogres, they were just myths in the far past. But now, all of a sudden, this same world, it's not that they went to another part of the world where they're gonna discover these new things. This same world, the same school, the same desert, the same people that they have lived in for years and years and years, all of a sudden is full of spirits, full of magical beings, efforts and jinn and superpowers. Like, it's just like, come on, like, how come this has never happened before? It's just myth. You know, no one that knows, no one that has have this happening. And then now, that's just how it is. Like, now, just demons and things are just everywhere. I don't know. I don't like it. Now, the third trial, my heart. My heart is broken with the third trial. It is literally the worst. It's so bad. I don't even want to remember it. I was reading this, like, I was just like, oh, no, tell me no, tell me it's a lie, tell me it's a lie, tell me it's a lie. That's so dark. Oh my goodness. They had to kill their friends. Like, they had to kill each other. Now it's not like legionnaires, like part of the military that are with the Empire, but they know, basically they don't know them. No, they had to kill hundreds of masks of the people that they grew up with. Elias had to kill Helen. And they, oh my goodness, it was crazy. Like, I just thought that it was supposedly a trial of strength. How is it strength to kill a person that is not the enemy? It's like, you had to kill the enemy. You had to identify the enemy. That was what they were told. And you had to kill that enemy. And I'm just like, but these are not enemies. These are servants of the Empire. Why would you do such a damn thing? It's so stupid. So angry. Elias, he in action. Helen doesn't die. Again, this is super spoiler. I guess you have watched it already. Or read it, sorry. Elias doesn't kill Helen actively, but he kills her in action. Like, he takes the decision of killing Helen. She's like literally the only person there that actually loves him, that he actually cares for, and he kills her. I just lost all my respect for Elias when he did that. Like, again, I'm sorry that I compare it with The Hunger Games. I just think The Hunger Games is such a good book, and I think everything there was perfect. Characters were not perfect, but the main characters, they did not go to kill the people that they loved the most. They didn't do that. When they were presented the opportunity to kill the person that they loved the most, what did they do? They decided to kill themselves. Elias, the most brave thing he could have done was to kill himself. That's what he could have done. He could have just gone to Helen and be like, hey, kill me. Kill me, please. I think Zack was the best one in this thing. Zack should have won these trials. Zack literally went to Marcus so that Marcus would kill him and no one else would die. Isn't that amazing? Good job, Zack. Everyone should have been like Zack. I lost respect for Elias because I know, like, he was in a big predicament. I know. But he should have done better. I just feel like that was so bad. And I think it was so stupid that the augurs, of all the wise men that existed in the world, is the augurs. Why would they do something like that? They're just the most mean people ever. And if things could not be more stupid, if you thought things could not be more stupid, they become even more illogical with the fourth trial. These trials were just for Elias. Like, no one cared about the other three. They were just for Elias, all of them. But specifically the fourth one. In the fourth one, they had to prove their loyalty to the Empire. Okay, here is where I would understand if all of them had to kill someone that they loved, but that was a rebel. That was someone that was discovered being unfaithful to the Empire. So, for example, Elias. if they would have said, okay, you have to kill Laia because she was like actively working against the Empire, they caught her, and if they would have said, you have to kill Laia so that you can prove your loyalty to the Empire, I would understand. And I hate Laia so much that I wouldn't care about that. But it's okay. Let's say like we like Laia and we don't want her to die. It's okay. But it will make sense. A trial like that, like they put Elias in a position that he has to kill, that would make sense. But everyone's trial, Marcus, Helen, and Elias' trial was to kill Laia. Why would Helen and Marcus care about killing Laia or not? They don't like the girl. They actively dislike the girl. That's not a trial. They are assassins. They usually kill people. That's what they do. Why was that their trial? It was just so... I've said this word. This was so stupid, but I just think it was so dumb. About to hear. Could have done better. Very quickly on a couple aspects of the plot that I didn't like. I'm sorry to be so negative. Is what is in my heart. I will say something I like about the plot very soon. But something I didn't like about the plot, it was Laia as a spy. It was very just fake and unbelievable too. She just did a bad job as a spy, and that's fine if she did a bad job as a spy. I just didn't feel the tension of her actually spying or her finding out anything important in her spying. It was just kind of there for the plot, but it didn't mean anything actually. And the other thing is that Carrie's the commandment. I don't know if you say commander. Carrie's. We're gonna say Carrie's because I don't know how to speak English, it seems. So Carrie's knew all the time that she was a spy. That is, I don't know. I don't like that Carrie's just knows everything all the time. Like, she's invincible. There's nothing they can hide from her. And that's not cool because I don't think there's a person that is invincible. And if you make her always invincible, then it's unbelievable that these stupid people that are just like walking in the dark all the time are ever gonna defeat her. I just don't feel that they have the capacity to go against Carrie's. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know how I feel about that. What I did like, okay, good Melanie, you do have something you liked about this plot. Something I did like and was my favorite part of the plot was Elias' execution. Why? Because it seemed like an impossible thing to conquer, and it was conquered. Like, I was just like, oh my goodness, of all the times that they have been in issues, in problems, that there's just like, there's nothing to be done, here is actually there's nothing to be done. She executed very well something called a catastrophe that was mainly introduced by Tolkien on his books. And a catastrophe basically means a massive turn of fortune, a seemingly unconquerable situation. Like, it's impossible to have victory here, it's impossible to win, we are lost, we are destroyed, there's nothing to do, and BAM! There's a turn of events, and the person is able to conquer, the person is able to have victory. So I think it was really well done. It really made me be like, yeah! Like, he literally felt the thing, how you call that, like the knife, the blade, just cutting on his neck. Like, Helen literally, and it was Helen that was gonna do it. And I'm like, is Helen gonna kill him? Is she gonna actually do it? And then when he looked at her and her face was blank and she was actually gonna do it, and she actually killed him in, there's a cool connection here because he actually killed her in action, even though he didn't get to kill her, but in his heart he killed her, and she actually killed him in action, even though she didn't kill him like physically, but in her heart she actually killed him. And I think that was really cool that they both had this moment in which that's what I'm telling you, their relationship it's so complex, it's so cool, I just never knew what to expect. It was so complex. And there's another layer there of like, oh my goodness, why would she do that if she loved him so much? But it's not talk in this book, is explore more in the second book. The point is that I really loved that moment of, it's Helen that has to kill him and she's actually doing it, and then you have the moment that he's just like and he feels the blade in his neck, and all of a sudden he collapses because they explode the thing and he falls, and then he escapes with Laia. That's what I like. That's called a catastrophe, and I think it was masterly done. A little bit about writing. As I said, it was fast-paced, but it also had a lot of very sweet descriptions, very beautiful. Every now and then they were like embers in the ashes because you could barely find any of them, but when you did, it was just like, oh, this is so refreshing. It's so sweet to listen to this. I will give an example. When Cain is convincing Elias not to run away, he tells him this: you will escape, you will leave the empire, you will live, but you will find no solace in doing so. Your enemies will haunt you, shadows will bloom in your heart, and you will become everything you hate. Evil, merciless, cruel. You will be chained to the darkness within yourself, as surely as if chained to the walls of a prison cell. That's great. I think that's really cool, and it describes so well the fear that Elias had of becoming this evil person, and Cain was like, I see your fear. If you run away, your fear is gonna be real and you're gonna be chained to yourself. Another example is when Laia runs away, when her brother just like, hey, run, don't stay, and she's running. The mask tells her, run, little girl, and this is her inner thought: my brother is still fighting, and his screams slice through me. I know then that I will hear them over and over again, echoing in every hour of every day until I'm dead or I make it right. I know it, and still I run. That was good. That was good. That was great. And I think those two, specifically, those two phrases are very key for starting off what the character of Laia and of Elias is going to be. Because Laia is going to be, and I think I'm gonna just enter in characters now. Laia is going to be this girl that feels so much guilt and is so chained to her family and to her past, and she sees her grandparents that were so brave, that died with so much honor and without blinking, and she sees her brother that was with the resistance, and she sees her parents that also died trying to save the scholars from the empire, and she is just such a coward, and she's haunted by that decision that she took of running away from her brother. Like, there was nothing she could do. She didn't have the ability of saving her brother. We all know that. But it was still, she still felt guilt for not being brave enough to try to do something about it. Similarly, Elias, our second main character, though he also thought that that war was bad and he didn't believe in the empire, he didn't believe in the marshals, in the masks, he was convinced that this was all really crooked. He didn't care about, oh, let me just save the day. He just wanted his freedom. He wanted to run away from who he thought he was gonna become. He just had this horrible mom, horrible mom. He had this grandpa that was kind of better than the mom, but was also an assassin and was happy about it. And he had already history of killing people, because in that school, either you kill or you kill. And he just felt that it was inevitable for him to become evil, and he didn't want so. So he wanted to run away. He was scared, not of his life, or not for his life or for the life of people that he loved. He was scared for his soul. He thought he was gonna enter into a place of too much darkness, and he was scared of that. And I just think that's beautiful, and that was great. Helen is our other main character, and is my favorite character. She's just such a complex character, because she believes in this empire. And it makes sense that she believes in this empire. she has been raised here. It's almost as a girl that has been raised in a cult. That's the only thing she knows, and she's convinced that it's true. But there's a logical part of her brain that is like, okay, this is not completely okay. So she's fighting with wanting to believe in this, and her noble part, her good part, not wanting to do those things, you know? So she was very stupid sometimes. She was like, it doesn't matter, they're just scholars. And I'm like, Helen, why? Like, she's mean. She's a bad character. She's not an angel. She's not a person that you all the time wants to be friends with. I don't justify her like, oh, I like her because she's so morally correct. She was not morally correct. She was morally messed up. But I like how complex she is and how she's just coming to realize, okay, maybe what I have believed my whole life is wrong. She doesn't end up realizing it. Like, the book is over and she still is stupid in believing these things, in having faith in the spiritual world and empire. However, you can see her struggles, how they become more and more and more intense, and how she, every time she's like wanting to change a little bit more and just taking better decisions. For example, she didn't want to heal Laia. It's just this scholar, and it's a scholar that she thinks has something with the guy she likes, but she ends up healing her. She ends up giving up her angerness and her pride and going and healing this girl. So I don't know, I think she has a great character growth, even though it's technically small. Is very big because the weight of her blindness is so big that the steps that she took into changing that, even though they were relatively small, seemed big to me, because she felt someone just, there's no hope to save this person from who she is, and there is hope. So the book ends with her still not being healed from that, but definitely giving you hope of a future restoration. Relationships. This is my favorite part. I'm sorry that it's so far into the video, but the relationships are my favorite. And here is where I have my biggest rant of them all. I will try to keep it professional because that's a professional channel, but I have a lot of rant. First, we have Laia and Elias. Look, I understand if a book is not a romance. I understand. Books, fantasy books, do not need to be romance. I understand. But if you are not going to make it a romance book, then don't make it a romance book. Don't do it. Like, you either do it or you don't. You know? If you cannot execute it, then do not execute. Do not execute. Laia and Elias was so shallow. Like, there was a romantic thing happening there, but they barely saw each other in the whole book. Like, if they saw each other 3 times, maybe, yeah, I think it was like 3 or 4 times. It was literally like 3 or 4 scenes in this whole fat book where they saw each other and they liked each other. And I'm just like, what is going on? I understand liking someone, thinking that someone is attractive, but like, they actually liked each other, as in, this is a romance that is happening here. And I'm just like, no, there's nothing happening here. And the most messed up thing is that you have the other romance between Laia and Kenan, where she also likes Kenan. Like, she really also likes him. And I'm just like, you have seen these 2 men twice in your life. You cannot... It was like a love triangle, but the worst type of love triangle. There was no reasons for them having attraction to each other whatsoever, besides them being attractive physically, because obviously they were the most attractive people in the whole universe. So I just didn't believe it. But the worst part, the worst of them all, is that, you know, there's this way of helping something look better when you put a worse thing next to it. So if you want to make a woman look pretty, you put her next to uglier people, right? Yeah? Are you following me? Okay, so what the author did was to put Elias and Helen, and they have this amazing relationship. Amazing. Complex, deep, real, rooted in not just feelings and, oh, you seem attractive, but in, you are my best friend of the world, and I have reasons to know you deeply and to love you deeply, but they are not together because though Helen is super in love with Elias, Elias doesn't like her more than as a friend, but they still have this amazing relationship. And then you have Laia and Elias, and so the fact that this relationship was so great and so deep just made this one seem so weak and so poor. Ugh, it was so bad. I'm just a hater of Laia and Elias, and the reason why I didn't hate it deeply was because of the promise. As I said, it promised, like, okay, maybe later they will develop a better one-on-one relationship. Spoilers? Never happens. Not in this one or the next. Never happens. We are just told that they are beautiful and they are great, but we are not shown it. I didn't see it. Never. I need to read you one scene between Elias and Helen that just warmed my heart. And after this scene, I was just like, if they don't end up together, I'm just gonna break something. So Elias just went through his first trial, the one of strength. What's it? Strength to, like, for the fear, to face your fear. And he just saw these dead people, and one of the people that he saw dead was Helen. So if he saw her dead in that dream or whatever, it meant that he was the one killing her. And he just felt like, he was like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe I'm gonna kill my best friend. And he was just going crazy for 5 days, just in complete hysteria. And he all of a sudden sees Helen, but she's alive now. And he touches her. So she's literally the one who, like, rescues him from that trial. He touches her, and then it says, then she's pulling me close, whispering that I am alive, that she's alive, that we are both all right, that she's found me. I wrap my arms around her waist and bury my face in her stomach. And for the first time in 9 years, I start to cry. A big man. He sees his best friend and he's just like hugging her. He's like on his knees and he's just like hugging her like this. And he buries his face in her stomach and starts crying. In 9 years, he has never cried with no one for nothing. And this woman that loves him so much and that he loves her and feels safe near her, he cries. How come you are gonna make him end up with Laia that is no one? No one. She's done nothing for him. She doesn't love him like Helen loves him. Oh, Helen, I feel you. I have been there. I feel you, Helen. Finally is the kind of application, I would say, of this story, and is the deeper meaning that this story can have, because this is called Written with a Y, and we have to give the why of the story. I think there's one thing, if I could give any deeper meaning intakes of this book, and is the one of identity. Is like the question of, do my actions define me? Because who I was in the past is going to define who I am in the future. You see that fear of becoming evil and not being able to escape it. I like it because I can identify with that. There are things in the past that I have done that I'm just like, I hate that for me, and I just feel bad about that person that did those things. And it wasn't just a person, it was me. Like, I took those decisions as a grown adult, and the question is, am I horrible now? Is my life destroyed now? Am I going to become even more horrible than that? Is there a way of escaping being an evil person? And I think this book is really well written in a way that you feel that fear that Elias has. Also supposedly Laia, but as Laia is a terrible person and we don't see it very well, but at least with Elias and with Helen, you can see their struggle of, who am I? You know, am I gonna be a prisoner of myself? And the answer to that, I think, is okay. You know, it's like, you don't have to be that person, you can be better. There was something that Laia said that I really liked, and well, it was first what was his name? Teluman, Saphir Teluman, I don't know, the guy that would do the blades and the weapons and stuff. He told Laia, there are two kinds of guilt, girl. The kind that drowns you until you are useless, and the kind that fires your soul to purpose. And that was really cool, because it's true that you can have two types of guilt. Is one that just makes you feel like, oh, I'm useless, there's nothing that I can do, I'm just gonna sit down here and cry. And another one that gives you a purpose of, I am going to fight against this evil in me. And I loved when Laia gave the same advice to Elias. And this is what I mean with, when you have in the beginning, you give a cool phrase, a cool key, and then it is used at the end, is really powerful. Because Laia, in a different level, was struggling with the same thing that Elias was struggling, and she was given this really good advice, and you're like, okay, that was a good advice, like that was actually cool. But then you go to the end, and when she's able to give the same advice to Elias, I think that was really powerful. I'm just gonna read it because I like reading stuff. She told him, there are two kinds of guilt. The kind that's a burden, and the kind that gives you purpose. Let your guilt be your fuel. Let it remind you of who you want to be. Draw a line in your mind. Never cross it again. You have a soul. It's damaged, but it's there. Don't let them take it from you, Elias. That was really good phrase. And I think it summarizes the main theme of this book. And it's like, yes, you did something really horrible. You have a very damaged soul right now because of the horrible actions you have committed. But let that, instead of being something that drags you down, be a fuel that would help you be different in the future. Now you see, okay, now I see how horrible this part is. Let me just trace a line. And there are things in my life that has been like that I'm like, wow, that was so horrible. I hate it. And I just want to sit down and cry. Then what I have to decide is, I'm gonna use this as a line tracer. You know, now I know where I can trace this line, and I should never cross it again. Not feel just destroyed, but feel now with the purpose of, this is not gonna happen again. I'm not gonna cross this line. The sad thing is that Laia's character was just so bad, so badly done, that it partially ruined the purpose of the book, but I still feel that it was good. There you have it. Extremely long review of Sabata Here's An Ember in the Ashes. I don't know, what do you guys think? If you like it, let me know. If you didn't like it, if you are planning to read it, tell me, what do you think? And I don't know, yeah, are you planning to read the second book? Did you read the second book? I already read the second book. I'm coming with also a review on the second book, and yeah, just let me know. That's it for today.